Well, hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. And we are with my friend Diego Tomasino in Miami. How are you, Diego?
Hi, Matt. So thankful to be here. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to be here for a long, long time.
Same
Thank you
here.
so
I
much.
haven't we haven't seen each other in the real world since like 2018 or 2019. It was New Year's, and that's the last time I saw you.
Yeah, no, but then I think we met in Miami in one of the prides. I think it was
Oh,
tonight.
you're
Remember that
you're
you have a
probably
booth
right. These
here?
things fall out of my head. But but no, what's interesting is where we really met, and that I do remember very clearly was exciting. It was in Buenos Aires at the G Network 360 event, and it's a whole business conference that goes on for the whole Latin American world. And yeah, you were that was like the first time I saw you there.
Yes, in fact, it was my first conference. I was as a speaker there representing Pride Connection Panama.
Yeah.
And so it's been a long way since that moment. So
But since then, now you live in Miami, and I would just say the things we'll touch on even here today because you're kind of you're very well rounded and because it all kind of comes together in a common theme. But business consultant, executive coach, and an author of a book called Come Out. And so yeah,
yes,
tell us a little about that.
yeah, that's in fact is a bit of the sum of my career, the sum up of my career, because I started in the financial industry in an
Yeah.
accounting firm. That's how I went from Argentina to Panama, where I lived like for almost 9 years.
Yeah.
And in Panama, I started with the activism with a foundation, and then we started Pride Connection Panama.
Okay.
Then I had to move to Miami for work. And when the pandemic hit, I started to put all those knowledge that I got during my time in Panama working for Pride Connection to my book. It's called Come Out. Las empresas también tienen que salir del closet. So
Yeah.
companies also has to come out. And yeah, it's excited with that. Since that moment, 2020, I started like working mainly on diversity and inclusion for companies, mainly focused in Latin America, but also now this year I've been in Spain. I'm doing a lot of like workshop here in Miami and the US
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
The book also came in Portuguese 2 years ago, and this year is coming finally in English. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
But I think that book really kind of comes full circle in the sense that it's a fantastic kind of like it's a really great expression of who you are. I think in terms of because I mean you're touching on personal stories of coming out, but then also like jumping into the more business side and you know especially when it comes to leadership and so forth. And so is that accurate that it really helps your business as well?
Yes, because all my life I've been working with like multinational companies, but more for the financial side. And then when we started, I certified as a coach, executive
Yeah.
coach, like almost like 7 years ago, and I started doing all these leadership trainings and workshops. And then it's like, okay, how can I put all together? You know, my business knowledge, my coaching knowledge, and my activism. Because
Yeah.
I'm very like I love like doing a lot of like noise when it comes to activism, especially, you know, in Latin America, we are living a complete different reality when it comes to LGBT plus rights. So for me, it was like an opportunity as a foreigner in Panama. It was much simpler to be a voice because no one knows me, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it was easier. And this book came as a summing up all of that. I think it's like one of the things that I can put all my knowledge together. And now working on that, it's like made me so happy right now.
I bet. But it's interesting, and I think it's perfect that you're in Miami, which is like the Spanish-speaking capital of the United States. And
Yeah. In fact, yes, I speak very little English here.
but no, I mean not to put too broad of a stroke on it, but it's the idea that I mean you've really had a great focus on in the let's just say the Spanish-speaking world all throughout Latin America, Central America, and but it's a great opportunity I'm guessing because there's so much that we see here in the United States with companies pursuing things, but you've been able to really like carve out a great niche.
Yes, definitely. And in fact, like I think that Miami, like it has all these mixture of different like cultures and people from coming from Latin America. So also companies that have their activities in Latin America, their headquarters are here in Miami. So it's easier for all the, you know, the workshops. Generally, they are like on Zoom
Yeah.
trainings,
Yeah.
and they hire me for all Latin America. And having my experience living in Panama and doing a lot of work in Central America,
Yeah.
I have like a more like I think, broad view of what's going on in the continent. So I think that's something added value that I can offer the companies. And yes, in fact, here in Miami, I'm working with the LGBT Chamber, doing a lot of things for hospitality.
Okay.
Now we are launching certification for hotels to create more like safe spaces here. Florida is not the best state to be in and being part of the LGBT plus community right now, but we are doing a lot of work here too.
That's excellent. And LinkedIn values you as well. I noticed that you're in the LinkedIn top voices, LGBT.
Yeah, that was an amazing surprise. After Pride Month this year in July, I got the news that they have chosen me as one of the top boys. So it's kind of like a leader on what's going on. So I create a lot of like new things and news, and I'm always doing more research. So the book was the first step, Then after I launched the book, I started creating community. So even also in my socials, I started doing all this network and this podcast, like lives, Instagram lives. That's how people telling stories of coming out in their jobs. So that's something that people generally don't share. You always share the story of how was coming out with your family, but how about coming out in the workplace? That's a completely different story. So that's something really, really nice, and I really enjoy doing that and interview people from different parts of Latin America and also Europe, and also here from the US too.
Well, see, that's the thing. Yeah, I would say, in my opinion, you really represent a new direction of where things are going with individuals, media, because you're creating content, and then but you've got a fantastic distribution system. You're very strong on social media on all the platforms, I would say.
Thank you. Yes, I have an amazing team that works with me and help me like creating all this calendar of different like the dates for the LGBT plus community, and also not only LGBT but the diversity in general. I also try to like working a lot on intersectionality the last few months, the last year, because it's something that generally companies do not watch that. It's like something that you have the ERG for LGBT people, the ERG for women, for Black people. But what happens if you are like Black, lesbian, immigrant, and a woman? In which ERG do you go? So that's something I am working a lot right now with intersectionality. Yeah.
I love that. Well, you just told me when we were starting out, you're going back to Argentina in a few weeks, right?
Yeah, I'm going back to see my family, and also this year I launched another book. It's called The University Out of the Closet, that I launched in Argentina with another author. So I'm also promoting that book. It's mainly focused on diversity and inclusion on educational context, and how also to help teachers to be more open to trans people, that are starting to go to university, because now Argentina has been like very open and very advanced in terms of trans inclusion. And now you have a lot of trans people in the university, and how do you deal with that? No, because you have to create a more inclusive spaces, and you have to also teach the rest of the students how to deal with that. No, so I'm working on that too, and also get to see my family after a long time.
Well, maybe we'll have another chance to even reconnect in Buenos Aires in a future G Network 360 event.
Yeah, I would love that. I couldn't go this year, but yes, I'm having another like event next week on Out and Equal. I'm going also there as a speaker. So I had to choose,
Yeah, that's right. Because Out and Equal is now, but are coming up next week. But G Network, I believe it's next week and as well.
Yeah, also, I think next week. Yeah, I think. But the interesting thing here with the Out and Equal is like that now you see the things that are going on in Florida, because I used to go to Out and Equal like the last 2 years. I went to Out and Equal last 2 years, and it was like open to everyone, and it was a huge event. And this year is only by invitation. It's super close. I'm like receiving a lot of like emails with, watch out if you do not stay in the hotels. We are doing the events. We are giving you all the transportation. Watch out with the airport. And that is something that, you feel that what's going on in Florida. And I think that's it's super important to be a voice and to keep like working on that and on the visibility and because it's not easy to be gay now in Florida.
Yeah, no, I understand. That's going to be interesting to watch that on social media when everyone's at Out and Equal, to kind of see how that plays out.
Yeah, they also like having a lot of like security. They're like things to when you enter to the hotels, and a lot of people didn't want to come. That's another because we have this alert that it's not good to come to Florida to do events if you're gay. So it was complicated for the organization, but they have an alliance with Disney, so it's gonna be in Disney. But they are taking a lot of precautions, and it's like very you have to worry a little bit when you hear about these things. But I think we have to stand up and be there, of course.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I agree with you completely. It's good not to run away, but to show up.
Yeah, that is part of of the resistance.
Yes, exactly. I agree. I think this is fantastic. And like I said, I look forward very much to reconnecting again. And but mostly I'm just really appreciative you were able to take a few moments of your time and share a bit of your story with our audience here.
No, thank you for having me again to reconnect. It was amazing also to show your audience the things I'm doing for companies, how to create this like inclusive environment for the LGBT plus community, talking a little bit of intersectionality, and the Latin American people, the Latinx people here in the US is like a very huge community, and we have a lot to offer here. So thank you so much for your time too.
Absolutely. Well, good to see you here.
Bye bye, Matt.
Hasta luego.